Hello there, commanders, and welcome to another Total War Arena news update. Shortly after the patch notes for the patch that happened yesterday, we've gotten another promise of a patch on November 24th, and that will be the Chinese faction coming. And I'm not really shocked because I have predicted that the China will be the next faction to come to the Total Arena. The other option was Persia. People were thinking, well, I mean, Persia was kind of the next faction that was supposed to come while the game is in wargaming, and China was planned like later down the road. But well, now the game has made its way in onto the Chinese market, so obviously they would switch the priorities around and bring China first. At least that's what I predicted, and well, turns out to be true. And that's kind of the bigger news than the patch notes, because patch notes were kind of insignificant anyway. So I guess I'll post this video first and then leave the patch notes for tomorrow or just later today. I still need to upload it. But anyway, let's read what they are saying. But the news is China will come with the next patch, and the next patch will be on November 24th. If that's what you came here for, that's it. But let's dive deeper. Maybe we'll uncover what kind of commanders and units they'll have, which is what we discussed during our podcast, which I guess the link to will be now in the top right corner. Haha, self-plug. Okay, the Epic Strategy competitive online game Total War Arena will launch a new version of Three Kingdoms on November 24th. And the much anticipated Chinese camp is finally on the stage. Whether Alexander could beat the Chinese army if he continued the Eastern expedition, and who would be stronger if the Roman civilization encountered the Chinese civilization. This historical topic of the Guangdong War against King Kong has been discussed by countless history lovers and failed to come to a conclusion. Now with the three nation armies, about 7, Total War Arena will see the epic battle between East and West across time and space. This question can finally be defined by you who love war games. And yes, I do agree with it. I really hate all those arguments like, oh no, it will ruin my immersion and my historical accuracy. There is no historical accuracy in Total War Arena to begin with. You have, I don't know, Caesar teaming up with Boudica to fight Alexander the Great and Hannibal, which all of them never met each other because they lived in different time periods, I'm sorry. I guess I watched too much Steins Gate and Fate. Speaking of Fate, this is exactly like Fate. And why people love Fate? Because it pits heroes from across time and space. Like you have literal Alexander the Great versus Gilgamesh versus King Arthur. It's just fucking great. It's like what if scenario. What if Caesar and Roman civilization fought the Chinese civilization? Now you can find out. It is something that is not provided by any other Total War game. You could argue it's like, oh, you can have Rome, barbarians, Greece, Carthage, Persia, and whatever in Rome Total War and Rome 2 Total War, right? And by some extension Attila as well. Well, now this is going to be the only game that combines all those Western civilizations from the antique times and pit them against other civilizations from the East, like China. Maybe we'll see India in the future. I mean, they already announced a Japanese faction. I really hope that will be the case. And they'll bring it sooner or later. And then you can keep expanding. You can bring future factions, like future... to antiquity. So we thought Vikings could be a cool addition. You can also go the other way. You can go Aztecs, right? I mean, Aztecs, how we know them, right? We know them from like 15th, 16th century, where the discovery of America was underway, and the Western civilization first met those American civilizations. But their technology level was more or less like the technology level of our antiquity, right? So even though they are 2,000 years later than some of the commanders that we have in Arena right now, the technology level of their units would be more or less the same. and they would fit perfectly. And it is just a cool thing to see. What if Romans expanded to America and fought the Aztecs? It would be cool. Why not find out? Right? It's just fun. Like, as I said, you have such an historical inaccuracy. You literally have Romans, barbarians, Greeks, and Carthage teaming up to beat other Romans, Greeks, barbarians, and Carthaginians. It's like, why you are so easily to accept that, but cannot accept Chinese faction, which is just, a little bit further away. Yeah, it's the point I brought in one of my comments a few days ago. Because, I was posting the Chinese faction predictions podcast. It actually timed pretty well. I had no idea the Chinese faction was coming on that specific date and they would come out with an announcement. It's literally really just a coincidence. A very good coincidence, to be honest. A very good timing. So, yeah. I used the exactly same argument. Like, dude, like, if Alexander didn't retreat from India, he could have reached China, no problem. And we also have historical records of certain merchants making their way from China to Rome. So, like, they were aware of each other. Like, Romans knew that China exists somewhere far, far, far in the east, and vice versa. It's just they've never met each other on a larger scale because, well, they're kind of like the Himalaya mountains in the middle. In between, so yeah. And also they had their own issues to address domestically, I guess. Anyway, let's continue on reading. A new battlefield and a new milestone in the dominance of the generals. A new battlefield is the map. Oh yeah, here we can see the map actually. Well, we'll see about that. With the launch of the Three Kingdoms version, the Chinese characteristic map Changbanpo will become a new battlefield in the game. In this real ancient battlefield, where a series of epic battles have taken place, Ho Guan Yu of Han Shouting. Yeah, that's bad translation, but I had no idea what it could be originally. Who was the power of Huaxia? Cao Cao of Wei, who unified the Central Plains. Lu Bu, who was brave, and Zhuge Liang, the prime minister of the Shu Han dynasty, who died after his devotion. The famous legendary commander will lead a series of troops with Chinese characteristics such as continuous crossbowmen and halberd soldiers. Under your strategy, you will start a new journey and win 1,000 miles. Halberd? I think they are referring to G as halberds. I mean, it's just a mistranslation, right? Because G is probably just a Chinese word for it. And then when you put it through Google Translate, it's just... halberd comes out, right? But G, if you don't know, is more like a billhook rather than a halberd. But whatever. And we are getting crossbowmen. In our podcast that I will link right now in the top right corner, or did I do it in the... Yeah, I already did that. Can I do it? Can I link the same video twice? I guess I'll find out. If I didn't, remind me in the comments anyway. But yeah, we discussed, we predicted that both G and Crossbowmen will make it a Chinese faction after all their like basic units in Three Kingdoms. Total War. Or Total War Three Kingdoms. So yeah. I'm excited to see how the crossbowmen will work. Will they have longer range, shorter range? I mean, definitely they will have higher penetration damage, so I guess that will need to be countered by shorter range. But what's interesting is the firing arcs, right? Because you cannot fire a crossbow like you would a bow. I mean, technically you can, but it would be super inaccurate. Then again, it's a game, so if it's for the balance, I am willing to, just forego the historical accuracy. Like, oh no, you can't fire a crossbow like that. Well, if you want a crossbow that is balanced, then I guess you would have to accept that you can fire a crossbow like that. There are also repeating crossbows, which is going to be an interesting mechanic to see, and how that turns out, if they do it. But yeah, repeating crossbows are an iconic unit to Chinese. So I would expect them to put it in game if they can find a way to do it. The East and West generals meet across time and space in the top-level collision between elite troops. Wenho Lubu, that's probably like Commander Lubu, I don't know, versus Leonidas, king of Sparta, and Cao Cao, the king of Wei, against the Gaul conqueror Caesar the Great. Is Caesar referred to as the Great? Never really heard anybody refer to him as that. Maybe once or twice. But yeah, this is always just Julius Caesar. Han shouting Ho Guan Yu played against the African conqueror Das Scipia. What the fuck? Das Scipia. That sounds like it's like some kind of African tribes in the Das Scipia. Yeah, okay. The strategic competition between Prime Minister Zhuge and Carthage star Hannibal. Yeah, I mean, he kind of was a star and at the same wasn't because he was shunned by his government. The Eastern characteristics continuous crossbowmen. Oh, okay, so that's probably repeating crossbows. The Eastern characteristic continuous crossbowmen encounter the Greek Cretan archers and the Chinese-style halberd soldiers confronting the Roman legions of square shields, short swords. That sounds like a, like flowing water crashed war. Was that a One Punch Man reference? Yes, it was. Although I don't know if I remembered that correctly. I think it was flowing water crashed rock, but whatever. In those years, countless full-scale players could only barely experience the imagination of East-West war contact through single-player mod. With the launch of the Three Kingdoms version of Total War Arena, it truly satisfies the contrast and competitive imagination of countless history and game lovers. Therefore, even for the old players of the full war series, the generals of the ancient Western civilization and the Eastern Chinese civilization compete with the army on the same stage, which is a unique game experience that is difficult to obtain from other games in the full war series. The East-West duel that countless full-fledged players once dreamt of. Yes, dreamt, not the dreamed, right? Now begins. It's a Google translation. Is there a difference between dreamed and dreamt? Or just dreamed incorrect? I'm doubting my English skills. Google-san, please, no. Anyway, what I want to address here, right, on this paragraph. When the first Arounds Arena, like way back in like 2013, I believe it was, when they literally just gave you a leaflet, a pamphlet, in my Rome 2 pre-order. Never again. Yeah, I was one of those fools that pre-ordered Rome 2. But what I got out of it was knowledge that Total War Arena was coming. It literally, I opened my box and bam, Total War Arena announcement in there. I was like, fuck yeah, that's what I always wanted. And what they said back then is that it is going to connect like all the Total War franchises, right? Well, up to like Napoleon, because Napoleon is too advanced, right, to face off against the legionaries. But they said like, yeah, sure, Rome factions, medieval factions, Shogun factions, all in Arena. No problem. That's what Arena will be about. And then we only got the Antiquity factions to start with, and then it never really reached that potential, which it will now begin to reach. So after that, screw Persia, go Japan. We need Japan in the game. We need Persia anyway. Yeah, I want Japan. I'm a weeb after all. And I want Iskandaru, Seifuku Iskandaru skin for my Alexander the Great. Thank you very much. And also, they can dabble in the myths. They also said that, like, yeah, King Arthur is a possibility in Total War Arena. They can bring King Arthur. Yeah, sure. I mean, all of those, like, some of the abilities are kind of like legendary status, Yeah, you go in with Scipio, all for perseverance, and I'm unkillable. Haha. You literally have unkillable. No, you don't anymore. With Berserk, Defiance. It used to be called Berserk. Yeah, where you have delay death mechanics. You still have delay death mechanics on certain skills, if I remember correctly. I just don't remember which, but it was like some kind of a strike that has delay death mechanic. Whatever, you have healing with double pay. Yeah, barrage where you have inhuman reload speed. So yeah, it has some sort of like mythology, legendary powers to it. Why not just bring the actual legend and bring King Arthur to the game? They're fucking amazing. Okay, continuing on with the article. 20 years of war. What? Deep accumulation of cross-age masterpieces. The Total War series has always affected countless players who love war games, with its huge and magnificent war scenes and military forces that restore the true history. Those who have spent the whole night fighting in the game world would have become an unforgettable part of the youth of the players. The stars are changing, the years go by. Total War Arena, the first online game of the whole war based on the player's 10v10 battlefield competitive mode, is officially launched. Based on the accumulation of 20 years of experience, the full battle single-player series, this new cross-generation work gives you a new experience against real players. This work removes the complicated and cumbersome diplomatic and internal operations of the standalone version and focuses on the core charm of the full battle series, a large-scale battle on the vast ancient battlefield of real troops that restore history. Difference is that this time, your opponents and comrades will be countless real players who are familiar with strategy and tactics as you. They have their own combat styles and ideas, and they will no longer be at your disposal like the AI opponents in the standalone version. How to effectively use tactics in teamwork will be the key to victory in the battle between the two sides. I really like this paragraph, really well written. It kind of disses the single player because, like, yeah, fuck AI. AI sucks. You know, AI doesn't provide any challenge. Now it will be real players who have their own tactics. Really well written. It also talks about like removing the cumbersome, diplomacy, building up your empire, recruiting your armies, and then fighting on a battlefield. And usually you would just fight always at an advantage, right? It's like, hey, well, I have 2 armies and you have only 1 army, and if you have 2 armies and I have only 1 army, I just won't fight you in the first place. Right, or just defend my towns or forts or whatever. While in Arena, it's always 30 units versus 30 units, and all it comes down to is your skill. And I guess matchmaking occasionally. So yeah, it kind of, this is the main series, but you know, if you want to appeal Arena to fans of the franchise, I mean, there are certain people who are like, oh yeah, I really like the battles, but not really the campaign stuff. Arena is then for you, because if you are the other camp, like you like the campaign, but battles are kind of meh, or you just have to resolve them, Arena isn't for you anyway, right? So you can just diss those people anyway, because they're not your target audience. So yeah, I really like how this article was written. I know I had some feedback about like bad wording in the past in Total War Arena articles, but this one, really, really good. I really, really like it. Sorry. So yeah, that has been it for this. Oh no, wait. Whether it is a new player who likes a war strategy competition or an old player who loves the whole series, on November 24th, Jinge Iron Horse, whatever that is, will compete in the Three Kingdoms. Let us experience the unique epic of Total War in Total War Arena, the magnificent battlefield in the same screen. Haha. Yes, so I am eagerly awaiting November 24th. Hopefully, as we get closer and closer to that date, we will get more and more information. Actually, speaking of, they did mention different commanders in here, right? So we have Ho Guan Yu. No, Ho is probably a title. Yeah, we have Guan Yu. We have Cao Cao, 2. Lu Bu, 3. Zhuge Liang, 4. yeah, so that's 4 commanders. Do we have any more here? Cao Cao was there already. Lu Bu was there already. Damn, Mishu, can you go through puberty already? I know you're only 13 years old, but goddamn, stop having voice cracks. Yeah, Guan Yu, Zhuge Liang. Okay, so they mentioned 4 commanders. So I guess those 4 commanders are coming. And yeah, we'll be waiting for them to arrive on 24th, and maybe we'll get some previews about their abilities, units. Maybe we'll see a map highlight or whatever. And yeah, 24th of November. Stay tuned. And there's finally something to be hyped about in Arena again, right? We've waited, and we finally gotten it. So hell yeah, I'll see you there on Arena's Battlefields Commanders fighting the Chinese faction after you subscribe to my YouTube channel and help me bring Arena back to the West so that more of you can enjoy the Chinese faction. But if there are some of you that are like, fuck the Chinese version, nothing really new, blah blah blah, well, you not only have a new game mode, now you have an entire new faction. Well, in a month. But yeah, with that said, finally, I will see you on Arena's Battlefields Commanders.